Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to these weekly videos. This is Friday for those of you who are watching live, and I want to say thank you very much for those of you who have downloaded the Everything Massive Fitness app on your phones. We are available in most countries, like 27 different languages, and we have lots of great content, as you guys are aware of. If you're finding this video on YouTube, you're an all-star because I don't really promote it. And so thank you for finding this video. Thank you for watching this video. In the description below, there are two links. One is for Android, one's for Apple. It's a free app, guys. We used to charge for this app, but call me crazy. I actually made it completely free, so all these videos are done zero. Like, I'm not making any money on this app. I'm doing it mainly because our mission here is to change the fitness industry. There's a lot of information out there. That's a lot of false information from Instagram influencers, from fitness gurus that have a good following, that have probably a good body, but they don't truly understand the science behind why we do what we do. And the biggest problem is when people aren't innovative enough and don't open their minds enough to try to learn, because the science is changing on a weekly basis, really, with nutrition and training. Our bodies are adapting. Everything's always changing, and everybody's bodies and chemical makeup is everything's different. So what may work for me doesn't it work for you, and vice versa. So it's very important that we take the responsibility on behalf of the fitness industry to provide you the best information we can. Um, we're a very small company, and it's really primarily myself, the owner, Blake Covington, that puts out all this information for you guys. But we are growing, and we have some big announcements coming soon. I'm always working up something to help us improve and continue to extend our reach. So, big announcement coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Today's video is is actually a video I've talked about this subject a little bit, but I haven't really done a full video on it. And that is isolation exercises versus compound heavy movements. Obviously, there's a big difference there in how they can affect your body differently. So the other day on Tuesday, we did a video about deadlifts. Obviously, deadlifts, that's an intense, sometimes and more often not, a heavier movement. You can do it lighter, like we discussed Tuesday. If you haven't seen the video, go back and watch it. I'm not going to get into that right now. That's for that video. But deadlifts typically are done a little bit heavier because it is a full body movement, and it's a very intense exercise. And it's great for boosting your metabolism. It's fantastic for boosting your metabolism, boosting growth hormone levels, testosterone levels, both for men and women. And it will it's a fantastic tool in the arsenal to use when trying to transform your body. Um, Isolation, on the other hand, typically is done with machines or dumbbells. You're not going to use a lot of barbells with isolation, mainly machines and dumbbells. Cables, resistance bands, those types of things are fantastic tools and pieces of equipment for isolation. So now, really, where these two compare is we all know compound isolation. So I'm not going to get into that. I think that most of us know the difference between a compound movement, like a squat, a bench press, deadlift, um, walking lunges, those sorts of things, or isolation. We're talking preacher curls. We're talking cable rope tricep extensions. We're talking leg extensions, leg curls. Very isolated, very targeted movements. Now, where they compare and how you can use these together to change up your workouts, to change up the pace, the speed, and the amount of calories you're burning, the amount of muscle tone that you're building is extremely important. Number one, we're going to spend most of our time today on the isolation movements, but isolation movements, for the most part, don't typically burn as many calories as these big, heavy compound movements. I can assure you that I burn more calories doing deadlifts than I do preacher curls. So With that being said, doing isolation doesn't mean you're trying to lift heavy weight. Usually you're trying to lift moderate weight in higher reps. And what this does is this actually burns more glycogen in the muscle. So what glycogen is it's carbohydrates, stored carbohydrates in the muscle cells. Isolation movements and compound movements, they're both anaerobic exercises. They're both going to use glycogen for energy. But isolation is simply that. I mean, you are pinpointing that muscle with extreme accuracy, and you are sitting there. And let's just pretend it's a bicep curl. We're sitting there, and we're doing preacher curls. I am focusing on nothing else but the peak of the bicep. I'm trying to get this bicep balled up and as tight and full as possible. I don't need to go in and try to lift 100-pound dumbbells. That's how you injure yourself. I'm trying to go in there. I may only have 25 pounds in each hand, and I am doing 20 to 30 reps. I am trying to put as much blood, oxygen, nutrients into that muscle, stretch out that fascia, take those muscle fibers, pump them up, stress them out. Remember this, guys. Muscle does not know weight. Muscle knows stress and fatigue. I can make you sore. I can make you more sore by using 20-pound resistance bands than a 45-pound bar and plates on each side. Because we may have to do 100 reps of the bands, but it's a different feeling, it's a different sensation. You're training the muscle differently. And that is how you get results. That is how you go in the gym and you go from compound movements that you may typically do to isolation, do a full week of isolation movements and go for the biggest pump you possibly can. Your body will transform in days. You're gonna walk around with your shoulders bigger and rounder. Your arms are gonna be bigger and fuller. Your veins are gonna be popping out more than they've ever popped out before. Your legs are gonna be pumped up. Your calves are gonna be swollen. Everything's going to be different. Your shirts are going to fit differently because instead of going in the gym and just pounding that muscle with 5 sets of 5 super heavy compound weights, that's good for overall growth, but it's not going to expand each muscle specifically. If you want to look like a bodybuilder, and I'm not talking about being 300 pounds and looking like a freak. I'm talking about even the females. If you want to have defined muscle tone, even if it's small, petite muscle tone, you have to train with isolation. If you want to walk around and have a bigger chest, bigger biceps, and bigger shoulders as a guy in a smaller waist, compound movements are important, but isolation is like it's like the tool the artist used to really get the details etched in there. And that's what you're doing to your physique. You are the artist of your physique. So when you go to the gym and you have all this equipment laid out and it's an isolation day or you want to change up your workouts and do isolation, choose the exercises that you feel the best. Choose the exercises that are going to, everybody's bodies, our mechanics are a little different. My body moves different than yours. So an exercise that works really well for you, maybe I don't feel it. So I don't do that exercise. I go somewhere else. I do maybe instead of preacher curls I don't like those, maybe I sit leaned back and I do some isolation curls leaned back on the incline. So that's just examples of how our bodies move differently. So if you try an exercise, you're just not feeling that pinpoint accuracy and you're not feeling the pump, try something else. Okay? Go to a different machine. So you're being the artist with that little tiny detailed tool and you're etching out the way you want to look. So machines are fantastic for that. And guys, be prepared for a whole nother level of soreness, a different soreness. You're going to leave the gym typically on a high volume, more isolation day. Your muscles are super pumped. Your joints don't hurt. And I think that the older we get, the more we should try to train with high volume. Going back to the kind of the bodybuilding example, even though those guys are extreme, we can learn good lessons from them. They could lift all the weight in the gym, but why would they want to? They don't need to do that. All right, they're trying to get the detail. They're trying to make their biceps a little bit bigger. My biceps aren't going to get a little bit bigger by going in there and trying to do 315 on the bench press 10 times. My biceps aren't going to get bigger by lifting 100-pound dumbbells. That's just a recipe for a disaster. My biceps are going to get bigger because remember, muscles know stress and fatigue. They're going to get bigger by stressing out the muscle and fatiguing the muscle. That is how they get bigger. So, talking about bigger, more definition, more detail, and machines are great for all of those things. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is actually a really fun video for me to film today. So, big shout out to the person who requested this video because I've talked a little bit about this, but I haven't actually just done a full video on it. And today I'm doing shoulders in the gym, so it's an isolation day. There's no need to go in there and do 200-pound shoulder presses. That's not going to really do much for shoulder growth. Side delts, lightweight, go for a pump, make my shoulders turn purple. Front delts, rear delts. I'm hitting every muscle like an artist touches on every detail of their artwork. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Take these videos, take this knowledge, apply it to your workouts, apply it to your nutrition. I promise you, your body will reward you for it. Number one, you're going to feel better, you're going to look better, you're going to see results faster. And if we can accomplish those things and help you do that, we're doing our job and you're seeing results. That means you're doing your job. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.